I speak a lot on this channel about progressive moral theology, the idea that if you are liberal, you have the right opinions. It doesn't matter so much if they correspond with reality, what matters is that you look morally virtuous. Once you understand this dynamic, you start seeing it cropping up everywhere. First up is everyone's favourite social justice warrior feminist, Jo Brand. That's the same Jo Brand that's pro-mass immigration, pro-state multiculturalism, pro-black people can't be racist, pro-let's throw battery acid at Nigel Farage. Apparently, Jo's upset at the moment because she can't go swimming in the rivers of England anymore.
I used to swim in rivers when I was younger, and it was absolutely lovely.
Sure you did, Jo.
Nowadays, I don't swim in rivers.
No surprise there.
It's not lovely anymore. Now, you can look at it any way you want, but what it boils down to in some ways is that the water companies haven't really done their job properly, and Lord knows what's floating about in rivers these days.
Well, we don't need the Lord to tell us what's wrong with our rivers because we already know they're full of human excrement. That's because our sewage system is on the verge of collapse. If we didn't have sewage overflows where excrement is dumped into the rivers, the whole thing would crumble. But do you think London lovey Jo can figure out why our sewage system is completely overburdened? What could it be? Oh yeah, that's right, it's mass immigration. But given that Jo is a progressive, and that means a good person, she doesn't want to focus on that. Instead, she's just going to blame the water companies themselves, ignoring that we have a Victorian sewage system and a population that way exceeds its capabilities. Jo Brand is engaging in what are known as luxury beliefs that rich progressives have that actually screw over the rest of the country, but they feel good about themselves, so there you go. Next up is the dwarf goblin that guards the gates of London. After stating he believes Donald Trump came for him because he's a great politician who's a wonderful guy and hasn't been calling Trump a Nazi and a fascist and evil and terrible or anything like that, but simply because he's Muslim.
If I wasn't this colour skin, if I wasn't practicing Muslim, he wouldn't have come for me. He wasn't coming for me because I'm 5'6", right? He's come for me because of, let's be frank, my ethnicity and my religion.
I don't know, Sadiq. It might also be because you're an ideologically possessed leftist midwit. But all of a sudden, Sadiq's done an about turn, and it seems that Donald Trump isn't an evil racist monster who's after him because he's got brown skin and he's Muslim. A hypocrisy so stark it even makes James O'Brien look reasonable.
It's sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, racist. You've returned to that accusation that you made previously. What does that achieve?
Well, no, it's really important that we put out a hand of friendship to President-elect Trump. I wish him well.
You can't have it both ways. You can't call his policies sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic and racist and put out a hand of friendship at the same time.
Well,
or do you think you can?
I think the three things that even Donald Trump supporters would agree with is his policies are protectionist, nativist and unilateralist. I think that poses problems, not just for our great country and the world, but also for London. Now, look. I want our government and our country to continue to have a special relationship with, President Trump and the USA. One of the joys about a special relationship is like having a best mate. Our expectations are more for a best mate, our closest ally, than they are of others. And that means sometimes calling out your best mate or your closest ally when you think they're doing things you disagree with.
Oh, there you go then. Sadiq and Donald Trump are best mates now, and I'm sure Donald can't wait to hear what his best mate's got to say to him about his beliefs and policies. It's hard to believe that anybody takes things that Sadiq Khan says seriously, but it seems they do. Here's a clip from BBC propaganda show Question Time with an absolute pansy saying how frightened he is of Elon Musk.
Being so close to the heart of the American government is really scary. I think, putting aside the fact that, SpaceX has a lot of government contracts, so there's a big conflict of interest there. He owns one of the largest propaganda machines on the planet.
By propaganda machine, you mean X, a place where people are free to air their own opinions, and some of them aren't liberal, so you think that's propaganda.
And we all know that him having such a close tie to a president who, has said some very scary things on record, and he's, behind a policy, Project 2025?
Project 2025? How terrible! Here are the core aims of Project 2025: restoring the family as the centrepiece of American life, dismantling the administrative state, defending the nation's sovereignty and borders, and securing God-given individual rights to live freely. You mean to say we won't be ruled by blue-haired, nose-ringed, mouth-breathing, hysterical weirdos who think women can have a penis and men can get pregnant? Oh, the humanity!
Having that combination of him controlling such a large part of social media and being that close to a president who I don't trust, I think it's terrifying.
Hope you'll make it through the night without wetting the bed. Oh, and sorry, I forgot the mandatory left-wing question time applause for the soppiest point of the evening made. Yeah, this is typical of the London Liberal, running from reality, getting hysterical while they're doing it, and wanting a pat on the back for their trouble. Hard to believe why I left the big smoke, isn't it? These are just my thoughts, however, do let me know what you think down below, and do consider subscribing to the channel if you're new.